I sat on a priceless walnut antique chair and, using a teapot made by a famous Esher artisan, poured myself a cup of brewed foreign black tea. Watching the man before me kneel and bow his head incessantly, his old wounds trembled all over from fear. His forehead was already a bloody mess, yet his head still thudded against the floor as he bowed. Just as he was about to faint, I stood up, walked over, pinched his chin, and forcefully lifted his head. "Mr. Johnson, I really know I was wrong. Now I'm good for nothing. Just treat me like a fart and throw me away." No sooner had he finished speaking than a burly bodyguard beside him kicked him several meters away. "Watch your language. Our Mr. Johnson never farts." I looked up at him, feeling that something was off, but I didn't say anything. The man writhed on the ground in pain for a while, then slowly clambered over. He voluntarily rested his chin on my hand. The face that had once been a delicate little puppy now had not a single good feature left. I smiled with satisfaction. "Spare you? The woman I grew up with, the one I should have walked into the hall of marriage with. And now, because of you, we're like strangers. Give me one reason to spare you. Today I'll let you off, but if I think of new ways later, we'll have a proper game." I let go of his hand, wiped the blood off him where it had stuck, then stood up and waved to the bodyguards to drag him away. The man's heart-rending cries grew more distant until they disappeared. The bodyguard who had kicked him earlier stepped up. "Mr. Johnson, what if he calls the police?" "Call the police? For what?" He came to me uninvited, knelt and kowtowed on his own. Apart from you kicking him once, no one else touched him. Even if he calls the police, and most he'll be detained for half a month, I'll have people make sure he's well fed and taken care of. With it, I turned and walked into the room. A sincere voice came from behind me. "Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I am Sophia Taylor of the Taylor family. We've grown up together since we could remember, because our two families have been close since our grandfather generation, and the two companies have deep ties. Our engagement was arranged before we were even born. To foster the relationship, I was sent to the Taylor household when I started elementary school. The Taylors said that when they marry, their daughter would marry into the Johnson family. So before the wedding, your son must study at the Taylor family home. Living with Sophia, Mr. Taylor had very strict requirements for me, because he was indeed raising me as a son-in-law. Letting your future in-laws train their son-in-law can really produce a good kid. I wasn't allowed to touch any nonsense. Aside from studying, it was all sorts of etiquette and the hobbies proper to a member of the tycoon class. They also instilled in me that men are born to cherish women, that women are to be cajoled and need to be taken care of. In fact, that's how I behaved. Rather than saying I was there to cultivate a relationship, it was more like being a little follower. I genuinely treated her well and took care of her in every way. And she was very good to me too. Whenever something nice appeared, I was the first person she thought of. Since childhood, her favorite thing to do was sneak into my room late at night, lie in my arms, and fantasize about all the things I would do for her after we got married. When she was little, she would tell me that after we married, her parents wouldn't allow her to eat lots of snacks, and I would let her eat as much as she wanted. She said she would watch cartoons as late as she wanted. I would buy her so many beautiful clothes, though she already had plenty of pretty outfits. During adolescence, she would imagine our first time and ask me to be gentle because she was afraid of pain. As for children, at most two, a boy and a girl would be best. The boy tall and handsome like me, the girl gentle and beautiful like her. I had even thought of names for the kids when a transfer student, Liam Parker, suddenly arrived at school. A boy who spent more time on makeup than the girls, slim and well-proportioned, skin white as snow and flawless. He took better care of himself than most girls, and perhaps for that reason, he was always surrounded by girls asking for his skincare secrets. The most unbearable thing was that, despite being in high school, he still spoke like a child. When he saw something he wanted to eat, he'd act coy with those around him. "I want to eat a strawberry tart." Men felt nauseated seeing that expression and those gestures, yet he could still befriend women. His appearance and style were very feminine, and paired with his shameless personality and that chirpy, never-stopping mouth, he quickly became close friends with Sophia and her group of girlfriends. They spoke of everything with each other. Once, Passing by them, I heard Liam and the girls discussing which brand of sanitary pads didn't leak. What surprised me was that such a trivial thing would have such a huge impact on my life to come. Because Sophia was the school's belle, the most beautiful, Liam naturally grew closest to her. One day after school, we were walking hand in hand to the car at the school gate as usual. Suddenly, someone forcefully separated us from behind. Looking back, it was Liam. After pulling us apart, he very smoothly took Sophia's hand, as if nothing had happened, and started chatting with her. "Sophia, my scooter's tire is flat today. Can I ride home in your car?" Before Sophia could answer, Liam stumbled and fell flat on his face. "Get your dog paws off him. His boyfriend isn't dead yet." I kicked his butt hard. As the starting center of the school's basketball team, I put all my strength into that kick. It hurt so much he wailed and cried. "Sophia, are you even going to control your boyfriend? He even bullies your best friend. If you don't give me an explanation, I'll cut ties with you." Liam stood up, hands on his hips, looking exactly like a shrew. Seeing this, Sophia hurried over and began brushing the dust off him. "Ethan, Liam is my sister, who in our class doesn't know his situation, and you're jealous over this." She even rolled her eyes at me as she spoke. "All right, I've already told him. Today we'll take you home first, okay?" Sophia looked like she was coaxing a child. "Oomph. For the sake of sisterhood, I'll let you off this time." With that, he reached to take my hand. I made a non-committal sound, which frightened him into pulling back. Then he glared at me fiercely and, together with Sophia, sat in the back seat. I had no choice but to take the front passenger seat. When we got home, Sophia comforted me. "Liam is different from normal men. He doesn't like women. None of us sisters even see him as a guy. Please don't pick fights with him anymore, okay?" She grabbed my hands, shook them, and acted coquettish. "You're just too naive. If he didn't like women, why would he always hang out with them? Look at him. If any guy gets a little close to one of you, he immediately acts all snide and drives them away. Sometimes he even pushes people around, like you all belong to him alone." She shrugged and replied casually, saying she was the one he wanted to spend his life with. Hearing that finally made me feel a bit better. Whenever I got angry, Sophia could soothe me in 5 minutes, and I never had the heart to make her angry. But I didn't expect this was only the beginning. The next day at school, I noticed Liam looking at me strangely. He looked that way at the boyfriends of that sister group too, so I didn't pay much attention. At lunch, he brought a few plates of free little pickles and sat down opposite me. When I saw him coming, he didn't glance at me and simply faced me as he sat. Calmly, he picked up the vinegar bottle and the chili oil bottle and dumped both onto his own plate all at once. I watched him puzzled, wondering how he would eat that bowl of intensely spicy, sour, salty pickles. He had a sinister smile on his face as he reached out a finger and quietly counted 1, 2, 3. "Liam, so you were here. Didn't we agree to eat together? How did you get here first?" The moment the name Liam left her lips, Sophia's voice sounded from behind him. "Ethan's here too. Perfect. We'll all eat together." With that, Sophia hopped over and sat down beside me. "Wah wah. What's that sound?" "Whose kettle boiled?" I followed the sound and saw it was Liam sitting opposite. In just a few seconds, he was already crying with tears streaming down his face. Sophia noticed too, set down her tray, and hurried over. "What's the matter, Liam? Who bullied you?" Good grief, the way Liam shouted that gave me goosebumps in the middle of summer. Liam looked extremely aggrieved, choking and stammering. "Sophia, I just saw Ethan. He was here and I wanted to explain to him about our misunderstanding from yesterday." He said, as long as I could eat all these dishes with chili oil and vinegar, he would forgive me. Hearing his unbearably tearful sobs, I almost felt like it was my fault. Before anyone could react, Liam suddenly started shoveling food into his mouth with his chopsticks. "As long as you can forgive me, don't misunderstand Sophia, let me. I'll do anything. She's truly my best, close friend." "Oh, I only just realized I was being set up." The kind of plot you only see on TV, and yet it appeared so vividly before me. I didn't panic because I believed Sophia would trust me, We grew up together, and she knows my character. I didn't do it. He did it himself, trying to frame me. I put down my chopsticks and looked at Sophia openly, my tone very calm. There was a flash of anger in her eyes. Then she immediately moved to restrain Liam. Don't eat that. So many chilies. Are you trying to die? My life is cheap. You're Mr. Johnson and Miss Taylor's. You don't need to worry about me. Although he said that, the plate in his hand was easily snatched away by Sophia. I told you not to eat that unhealthy, non-nutritious kimchi, didn't I? Sophia scolded him tenderly as she wiped his face with a wet wipe. Our cafeteria food is so expensive. I can't afford to be wasteful. I'm not afraid. I've been living like this for over 10 years. Liam forced an ugly smile, trying to reassure Sophia. From now on, you can just eat with the girls. Come on, I'll get you another plate today. Saying that, she pulled Liam to get food. She didn't notice me at all, as if I were a piece of furniture in the cafeteria. I looked at the half-eaten plate of my favorite foods I had picked myself, but I had no appetite. I was groggy that whole afternoon. In the afternoon, Sophia called me to say one of the girls was having a birthday. She told me to go home first and that the driver would pick her up later. Before this, whenever the girls had a birthday or a gathering, she would always bring me along. She would hold my favorite fruits for me, peel shrimp and crabs for me. She would even get upset if someone forced me to drink. This time she actually told me to go back early. Only when I got home did I find the answer on her friend circle. In the video, a dozen girls were clustered around Liam. He was wearing a birthday hat, hands clasped, eyes closed, making a wish, and then everyone blew out the candles on the huge cake in front of him. For the first time, I wondered whether the woman I had always thought was mine could really be with me. That night, I went to bed unusually early, but my eyes were wide open like a cow's. I couldn't fall asleep at all. Around 11 that night, the doorknob turned and Sophia tiptoed in. Suddenly, she leaped onto me, her beautiful big eyes meeting mine. Still pretending to be asleep to fool me. I don't believe that if I hadn't put you to sleep tonight, you would have fallen asleep on your own. It's too late. You have school tomorrow. Go back and sleep. Perhaps sensing that I wasn't as surprised as before, her tone grew very cold. The smile faded from her face, and with a serious expression, she touched my forehead with her hand. Not hot at all. Ethan, you're not upset about what happened at lunch, are you? Honestly, you really don't need to target Liam. We're just girlfriends. He doesn't like women. His family is in a difficult situation, and we sisters are used to helping him more. He's a man and stronger than us, and he often helps us out. Sophia, you're usually smart. He says he doesn't like women, so why does he always cling to you all? If he likes men, why is he so cold toward men? You say his family is poor. We go to a prestigious school. The annual fees aren't something an ordinary family can afford, and his grooming is better than the women's. If his family were poor, how would he have spare money for upkeep? Oh, so you really are still mad about lunch. Remember the movie Starship Troopers starring your favorite actor? The son from a poor family could still go to a prestigious school. He says his good skin is natural, that he's never had treatments. We actually envy him. Her words nearly made me laugh with anger. Let's not talk about that for now. Do you think I forced him at noon today? And whose birthday did you celebrate tonight? I looked at her seriously. This matter couldn't just be brushed off. You're my boyfriend, so I believed you at the time. I just felt sorry for Liam, and tonight we went to celebrate his birthday. I thought you, and he didn't really get along, so I didn't call you. Didn't he just have a birthday last month? How is he celebrating again? How many times has his mom given birth to him? Last month was by the Gregorian calendar. This month is my zodiac anniversary. You really treat him well. Have you ever celebrated a birthday for your boyfriend? With that, I turned over and pulled the pillow over my head, refusing to listen to her any longer. She snorted, then I heard the rustle of clothes being taken off and the covers over me were thrown back. Sophia lay down beside me. She wrapped her arms around me and blew warm breath in my ear, making me feel ticklish. All right, fine, I was wrong, okay? I won't go back to sleep tonight. I'll stay here with you as an apology. I spun around suddenly and pretended to take off her bra. That's more like it. In that case, I'll forgive you. Smack. She gently opened my hand. What are you thinking? I'm just holding you as I sleep. If you want to do that sort of thing, you'll have to wait until we're married. Then will this do? No. How about this? No, no, no. You're so annoying. I said no. Ah, you're still biting. That night we didn't accomplish anything substantial, but neither of us slept much. During this period, Sophia had deliberately avoided letting me meet Liam, so we got along peacefully. That lasted until the school's annual statewide college basketball tournament. As the starting center of the school team, I worked with my teammates, and we stormed our way into the finals. The opposing team had won the championship 5 years in a row, but this time 2 of their absolute key players were out. One transferred, and the other was injured. Meanwhile, we trounced opponents after opponents, our roster solid and in peak form. This was the closest we'd ever been to the title. Even the school leadership had high hopes for us. And it showed. As soon as the game started, we quickly opened up a double-digit lead. The more we played, the bolder we got. They were out of sync and made mistake after mistake. At halftime, we led by 15 points. If things kept going this way, the championship would definitely be ours. During the break, Sophia, as cheer captain, came into our locker room to congratulate me. Ethan, you played amazing today. If you win the championship, I'll grant you one wish. How about that? Sophia looked at me with adoring eyes. I held her waist and whispered in her ear, "Get cleaned up and wait for me tonight." Then I went onto the court with my teammates. Sophia, behind me, looked bashful, her eyes full of excitement and anticipation. We continued to hold the advantage in the second half, but before long, I noticed Liam standing at the edge of the court. It had been a long time since I'd seen him, and a bad feeling suddenly washed over me. He happened to be looking at me. Our eyes met, and I saw that look again. "Ethan, watch out." No sooner had the words left someone's mouth than the basketball slammed hard into my face. I raised my hand to indicate I was okay, and my brothers came over to comfort me. I said I was fine and we could continue. Restarting the match, my gaze kept drifting to the sideline, making it impossible to concentrate. Once, as I was about to go one-on-one after receiving the ball, a sudden shout came from the sideline. Liam was sitting on the ground holding his leg. Sophia and the others gathered around to see what had happened. In my daze, the ball was stolen, and they countered to score. Liam looked at me with a taunting expression, then slowly placed his hand on Sophia's waist as if to embrace her. He puckered his lips and leaned towards Sophia's face. "Let go. Shut up," I shouted. Young and hot-headed, I lost my temper. I ran to the sideline as fast as I could and kicked Liam in the face, then went crazy with punches and kicks. It wasn't until players from both sides rushed in that they pulled us apart. I was ejected from the game for assault, and Liam was taken to the hospital. The victory we had in hand was overturned by a 1-point margin. Although the coach and my teammates didn't blame me, the school still issued a public reprimand to the entire student body. On the school forum, I became the school's villain, viciously attacked, and I felt deep remorse. I hid away for several days without going to school, not checking social media or the internet. I buried myself in sleep until the third morning when Sophia found me. The moment she saw me, I could clearly feel her sigh of relief. She cupped my unkempt, stubbled face with both hands and cried with pain. "You know how worried we were these past few days when we couldn't find or contact you. I've already talked to Liam. He won't press charges. Let's go home now, okay?" The first thing she said wasn't blame, but sympathy and comfort. The grievances I'd suffered over the past few days poured out like a floodgate opening, unstoppable. A nearly 6'2" man-boy lay on her, crying without being able to stop. Okay, it's all over now. I know you don't like him. I'll be careful and keep my distance from him, okay?" I nodded and went home with her. Afterwards, I asked her why Liam had been holding her waist and puckering up to kiss her while she remained indifferent. She looked at me in surprise and said I was talking nonsense. Liam never held her waist or tried to kiss her. That's when I realized I'd been tricked by Liam again. Fortunately, college life ended soon. Although Liam had messed with me several more times during that period, Sophia always affirmed that she believed me afterward. Just when I thought that after graduation we wouldn't have any further contact with Liam, Sophia hired him in her family's company, Taylor, where she worked. When I found out, I had a huge fight with her. This time she didn't compromise and was determined to keep Liam at the company. In anger, I went home and didn't contact her for a month. Both families tried to persuade me, but I wouldn't budge. In the end, Sophia couldn't stand it and came to my house to ask to get engaged, and we reconciled. On the day of the engagement, both our families invited many people, relatives, friends, and business partners, all local dignitaries. At first, the ceremony went very smoothly. The two men were tall and handsome, the women beautiful and elegant. We stood out like stars around the moon, receiving everyone's blessings. That is, until the moment I saw Liam appear at the venue. My smile froze on my face. I now have a psychological shadow whenever I see him. I had a premonition that something would happen today. Sophia noticed I was unhappy and squeezed my hand slightly. "Ethan, I didn't tell him to come today. He came on his own. If you don't want him here, I'll tell him to go back." I said nothing and nodded, because I really didn't want to see him. She went over, and they talked for quite a while. Liam's expressions were exaggerated, wiping tears one moment, stamping his foot and turning away in a petulant mood the next. When Sophia came back, she shook her head helplessly. "Ethan, I told him, but he refused to leave. He said he wanted to see his good friend's happy moment. I just couldn't." "Can you?" I nodded. When I'm in a bad mood, I don't want to say a word. Such a joyful event as an engagement, and yet I was full of anger. If I can't confront it, I might as well avoid it. The ceremony was more than halfway through. If it doesn't work out, I'll slip away quietly. He wouldn't keep chasing me down, would he? But I was still naive. After Liam arrived, he kept finding excuses to pull Sophia away. I wandered aimlessly around the venue, exchanging pleasantries with acquaintances. Before I knew it, I had walked over to the giant champagne tower and started looking at it out of sheer boredom. "Ethan, long time no see." The voice from behind sent a chill down my back. I didn't look back and just ran forward. Having been taken advantage of so many times, my instinct reacted. Keeping away from that voice couldn't be wrong. After only a couple of steps, I heard the enormous sound of glass shattering behind me. Turning around, I saw a champagne tower the size of Small Hill collapse with a roar, burying Liam completely. The scene instantly descended into chaos. By the time they pulled him out, he looked close to death, battered all over. Sophia stormed over in a fury and slapped me. "I never expected you to be so vicious. You've always persecuted Liam." I turned a blind eye to the little things before. "This time you've gone too far. Do you realize you could have killed someone?" I had never seen Sophia so angry. She was always gentle and dignified with me. I covered my numb face. He ran into it himself. "It's not my fault, So, now you're going to say Liam framed you? Would he risk his life to frame you? If it wasn't you who pushed him, then why did you run?" I fucking couldn't explain it. Can't speak? Back then, I must have been blind to like you, even wanting to marry you and have children with you. Then she turned to everyone and announced loudly that she was breaking off the engagement with me today, that from now on marriages would be no concern of each other. Then she had people lift Liam and take him to the hospital. I don't even remember how I got out. Although the people present didn't say anything out of respect for my parents, their looks made their thoughts clear. When a person is enraged to the extreme, it's terrifying, especially someone like me, rich if I need to be, surrounded by people, and not stupid. That night, I already planned my revenge. Because I hadn't taken you seriously before, you could act up in front of me. Once I got serious, you'd be in trouble. Liam was covered in wounds, but nothing severe. He was discharged after a few days. I also learned that he deliberately appeared on a path he had to take. When I was sure he had seen me, I turned to leave. As expected, he shouted and hurriedly chased after me. "Ethan, why do you want to leave as soon as you see me? I'm afraid you'll die in an accident this time, and it'll be pinned on me." "Don't worry, I won't frame you anymore, because there's no need. While I was in the hospital these days, Sophia tended to me day and night. She said she has broken the engagement with you. You two are finished. She'll become my woman, and her family's tailor company will be mine too. Haha. So that was your purpose in getting close to her? You kept framing me to achieve your goal. I cried out to him in pain. When you're putting on a show, you do the whole act. At first, I walked away when I saw him, so he'd think I wasn't prepared and would let his guard down. Now that he saw the pain on my face, he would definitely sprinkle salt into my wound. Sure enough, he talked animatedly, laying out everything from these years one by one, but every detail had been captured by the pinhole camera on me. I don't believe Sophia would fall for you. Call her and see if she'll rush over. Liam raised an eyebrow. How hard can that be? I'll call her right now. Then he actually dialed Sophia, and she agreed to come. Sophia said she could do it in 10 minutes. What are you going to do? He hung up and saw that I had already put on white gloves and taken out a telescopic baton from my body. Then I showed the smile he only ever wore when he was about to frame me. By the time Sophia arrived, Liam's legs had already been broken, and he lay limp on the ground. Ethan, what are you doing? Do you have to force him to death? She shouted at me. Her steps didn't stop as she ran over to check Liam's injuries. Sophia, this time no matter what you say, I'm calling the police and having him arrested. He's the one who broke my legs with this baton, Liam said, handing the baton to her. Liam, don't be impulsive yet. This might be a misunderstanding, Hello, is this the police? Yes, I want to report a crime. While the two of them were tugging over whether to call the police, I had already dialed. Ethan, are you crazy? Do you know what will happen if the police come? Sophia put Liam down and tried to snatch my phone. I raised my hand to keep her from reaching it, told the police the whole story, and hung up. Then I looked at her coldly. What consequences I face probably have nothing to do with Miss Taylor, right? When she heard my cold words, her face twitched awkwardly a few times, and the hand she had raised to grab the phone dropped uselessly. Ethan, I'm doing this for your own good. You can't go in. If you do, your life will be ruined. She stepped forward to hug me, but I dodged. Well, thanks a lot then. But in a little while you'll see exactly how you've been helping me all these years. With that, I ignored her. It wasn't until the police arrived and took us both in that I took out the pinhole camera on me and handed it to them. The baton had only Liam's fingerprints on it. All these years of grievance finally came to light. The police asked if I wanted to press charges against him. I didn't. Not because I was soft-hearted. My revenge was only beginning, and putting him in prison would be far too easy for him. I walked out of the police station, and Sophia followed me out. This time she didn't even glance at Liam collapsed on the ground behind us. Ethan, wait for me. I didn't know Liam was like that. I didn't know you suffered so much. I really deserve to die. Please forgive me, okay? She blocked my way, wrapped her arms around me, and buried her face in my chest, sobbing. It doesn't matter whether I forgive you. We don't have any relationship now. My voice was calm, devoid of any emotion, as if speaking to a stranger. No. You are my boyfriend, my fiancé. Boyfriend? You mean that kind who grew up with you, but wouldn't hesitate to blame me for everything after a single sentence from a classmate you've been with for 3 years? And didn't you already break our engagement at the engagement ceremony? You made me lose face in front of all our relatives and friends. We're strangers now, no. Not even strangers. I feel sick whenever I see you. Perhaps I spoke too harshly. She let go of my arms, took a few steps back, and stared at me with a stunned expression. No, that's not. You can't say that about me. She crouched on the ground, clutching her hair, torment written all over her face as she kept murmuring. I ignored her and got into my car, leaving in a huff. As the saying goes, turning dark multiplies strength tenfold, while turning pure only reduces it by a third. Ever since I began my revenge, I became decisive and ruthless. For the company's growth, I would also use certain means. While Johnson Company expanded, I didn't forget to take care of Liam. From that day on, he never had a good day. A 50-year-old woman would report an attempted rape. A minor girl would publicly scream sexual harassment, and some self-righteous bystanders would gang up and beat him half to death. Other people's valuables would suddenly appear in his house. His AIDS diagnosis papers were scattered all over the neighborhood. Everyone avoided him. Once he got used to this life, I'd increase the intensity. One time he was sleeping at home when a few big men kicked the door in, put a hood over his head, and took him to a hospital. Under anesthesia, they performed a sex reassignment surgery. I watched the video on my phone of Liam looking at his genitals and howling like a slaughtered pig, and I smiled with satisfaction. He went to the police to report it, but many acquaintances testified that gender reassignment had been his lifelong wish, and the hospital had a contract signed by him. Most importantly, everyone knew he was a manipulative green tea bitch who would do anything to frame others. He finally broke down, came to beg me for mercy in a crazed state. After humiliating him, I chased him away. But his miserable life continued. After learning that I'd been wronged, Sophia clung to me like a limpet, stuck to my side all day. She brought gifts, tried to learn how to cook for me. Whenever I spoke with another woman, even if it was just a few words, she would step forward and introduce herself as my fiancée. When it was awkward to make a scene in front of others, talking to her privately would get either indifference or a look of injured grievance. The confident, noble lady I used to like had become utterly humiliated before me. But not only could I not let go of the past, I also disliked this version of her even more. Finally, one time I couldn't hold back and exploded. It was at a top private club, at a wine reception attended by local elites and socialites. I was deep in conversation with a top female celebrity from the entertainment world. Suddenly a fair, slender arm looped through mine. I didn't need to turn to know who it was. "Honey, I lost you after I touched up my makeup just now. So you're here. Can you introduce who this is?" Sophia wore a custom high-end gown, already a national beauty. Her presence and aura overshadowed all the other female guests. I had had enough. I yanked her arm away hard, and because of my strength, she staggered and fell to the ground. "Who is your husband? Are the ladies of the Taylor family really this casual? We broke up a long time ago. Can you stop clinging to me like this? Your groveling, disgusting behavior makes me sick." Having said that, I threw the red wine in my hand into her face. Then I looked down at her, all condescending and amused, as if I were seeing myself at the engagement ceremony back then. What surprised me was that she calmly stood up, naturally took the towel the attendant handed her, and wiped her face clean. Then, ignoring everyone's curious stares, she smiled at me. "Ethan, actually, I'm not angry at all. You can be mad at me, you can hate me, but I can't stand you ignoring me. If this lets you vent, you can keep going." No sooner had she finished speaking than I slapped her hard, the force sending her stumbling back several steps before she regained her footing. She wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and walked back up to me. "If you're not satisfied, hit me again." I looked at her slightly swollen cheek and her determined eyes, and for some reason I felt a bit unsettled. I spat, crazy, then fled in disgrace. Since that day, Sophia stopped clinging to me every day, and I felt I had gone too far. But apologizing to her was absolutely out of the question. Thinking of the look on her face that day still made me uncomfortable. Given that, I could only put up with Liam. He'd had a run of bad luck recently, getting hit by a car when he went out, food poisoning from something he ate. Even the female hormones she had to inject periodically were mistakenly swapped by the doctor for male hormones. Having already adapted to dressing as a woman, she suddenly grew a thick beard overnight. She looked like a monster now. Actually, her adaptability was pretty strong. But where there's light, there's shadow. I always had ways to make her break down. Fortunately, good news kept coming at the company during this period, and my mood gradually recovered. Today was the day to sign a contract with a major Middle Eastern client, and the signing went smoothly. Just after stepping out of the company gate, before I could get into the car, I heard hurried footsteps behind me. I hadn't had time to turn when a familiar embrace swept me up. Then a woman's muffled groan. By the time I saw clearly, I was stunned. Sophia had thrown herself onto me, and behind her was Liam with a ferocious expression, holding a sharp knife that had pierced through Sophia's shoulder with great force. When he tried to pull it out to continue attacking, the blade got stuck on bone and wouldn't come free. It was Sophia's agonized cries that snapped me into action. I forced him down like pressing a chick. We handed him over to security and hurried Sophia to the hospital. Waiting outside the operating room, I truly felt time dragging like years. I kept chanting to myself that she would be fine. She would be fine. I even regretted what I'd done to her that day. As long as she came out safe, I was willing to repay her tenfold or 100-fold. Just when I was tormented, the operating room light went off. The doctor soon pushed Sophia out. The injuries are severe, but not fatal. The broken tip of the knife lodged inside has been removed. Now she only needs to rest. Because of excessive blood loss, her face was frighteningly pale, but she still managed a consoling smile when she saw me. After thanking the doctor, I took the gurney and wheeled her to the ward. Why were you so foolish? Didn't you think about the consequences? If anything had happened to you, how could I explain it to Mr. and Mrs. Taylor? When I realized he was going to hurt you, there wasn't time to think. I acted on instinct. Besides, it all came from the fact that I used to foolishly treat him as a close friend. Otherwise, you wouldn't have. Don't think about it so much. You're losing too much blood. The doctor said you need to recuperate well. Tell me what you want to eat, and I'll go get it for you. I want what you make with your own hands. I haven't had it in so long. Although she couldn't move, she still flirted with me with her eyes. Her parents arrived soon after. I went home and made several light but nourishing dishes for her. I stayed by her side of the hospital without leaving for more than a month until she was finally discharged. She went back to her old ways, always finding excuses to see me, and I no longer ignored her. Both parents, seeing how things were between us, were naturally very pleased, and the business cooperation between the two families grew even closer. It wasn't long before we received the news that Liam had committed suicide in the detention center. I had done everything I could to keep her from going to prison, even having Sophia write a letter of forgiveness for her. When she learned she was going to be released without charge, she felt as if the sky were falling. She couldn't stand her former life for a single day. Early one morning, the police found her hanged with a belt in the detention cell. Hearing of his death, I felt no vengeful satisfaction. On the contrary, I thought he died too decisively. A sharp phone ring pulled me out of my thoughts. It was Sophia calling to say the family had arranged for us to go abroad to survey a project, and she had prepared everything for me. I knew the family was matchmaking us, and I didn't know whether we would be together afterward. Who can say what the future holds? We'll just take it one step at a time.